everyone. I've spoken to lots of you before around how we've used QUBE to transform how we're working in the health service in Scotland, and I've got so many stories, but this one is really special. This is my favouriteest story of them all, and it started about 2 years ago. We invited an array of nurses, that is the collective noun for nurses that we made up yesterday, but it's now the collective noun for nurses, an array of nurses, because they bring sunshine into our lives. We had signed some of them up for a leadership course on QUBE, and I then met them at an event and introduced QUBE to them. And if anyone knows any nurses, and I don't want to stereotype, but if you've ever met more than 3 nurses, the noise level in the room will go up significantly. They are not quiet people, generally. But on this occasion, you could hear a pin drop and see the whites of their eyes as we told them what we were going to be doing with them. But they agreed to give it a go. And honestly, within 15 minutes of them all being on QUBE, they were laughing and joking, asking questions, and they gave us a real run for our money in teaching them. It was like ducks to water. Since then, I've seen them go from strength to strength. The leadership, they're transforming how they work nationally, they are innovating, they're coming up with their own solutions, and it really, really is amazing, and I'm so pleased to see them here today to share their story with you. So, over to you guys.
Thank you, Tam. No pressure. So thank you, Eddie and Leo and Tam, for inviting me along today to speak. And thank you to Tracy, Josh and DW for their diligence in keeping me organised and setting us all up today to be able to be at the event. If you had told me a year ago that I'd be here speaking to you all, I would have laughed and I wouldn't have believed this was possible. This wasn't in my grasp a year ago. So what's happened and what's changed? To help me explain, as you probably have noticed, I went and sought my favourite childhood book, Alice's Adventure in Wonderland, but today I am Alice for this event. So let's begin Suzanne's adventure in Wonderland. Firstly, a bit of background about my organisation and the team that we work with them. So I work for National Services Scotland, which is a specialist health board within NHS Scotland. We're a national board with 6 divisions. Our organisation has a small number of staff, just 3,500, but a very big geographical footprint. My team is called the Better Blood Transfusion Team, and we are part of the Patient Services, which is below Scottish National Blood Transfusion Service. Our strategic priority is to support health boards with the safe transfusion for the donor blood. Okay, sorry, I digress. Let me continue the story of Suzanne's adventure in Wonderland. So a small insight into what my world was, my old world. Almost overnight, I felt like there was a difference within the world that I was working in and within our team. We were struggling to keep connections with our team because they were so busy. Trying to catch up didn't seem like a priority. Here's me on the phone trying to ask questions to my team, and I felt like I was travelling towards meetings, spending time in meetings and travelling back, and I felt like I was on the road more than I was actually sitting around with my team. That's me overloaded with emails. Since I've started working with QUBE, my emails have reduced, working in silos, and I think I felt a bit like I was on a desert island with my team. It was a struggle, and I didn't have the tools or the resources to keep moving forward. And I felt like that the impossible was impossible, and I didn't feel like any of this was ever going to be happen. So that was what my old world felt like and looked like. But I'm interested to hear your old world, and to help us, cube style, we're going to look at a pet. They evolve, dominate or die. So if you would kindly join me at the small discussion board, which is in the right hand side at the places.
So, Francis, if I can help, Francis. Leo, this okay.
I'm going to drag everybody because I've got the powers to do so. So, the Evolve, Dominate and Die PET. This is something we use within the leadership course when I first came onto QUBE, and we've used it several times since. And what this helped me do is look at what I was doing in the old world. And we used to meet face to face and do a lot of teaching with staff. But progressively over the year, getting people to come to you for teaching is really difficult within the NHS. So this was something that did work, but we were now struggling to actually meet. Our geographical team meeting was difficult. We have people in the north of Scotland right down to the borders, and actually getting within a room was really difficult. We used to manage it and they used to work really, really well, but that was now a struggle. Working in KPIs is an old way of working, and we used to get them set every year. They were sent out, and I think sometimes it's difficult now to keep up with the KPIs, that we move so fast, that things change so quickly that they become irrelevant at times. So in the new world, what are the things that we're doing? So we are formalising with the use of the QUBE PETS project management in a different style of leadership. Looking towards a national type of working rather than working in silos. And also the training and teaching needs to be done differently. So within QUBE has been a fantastic space for us to do leadership courses and different types of pilots. So that's the new world. And old world, what we'd like you to do is to go over and have a go. Over to you, Leo.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, as Suzanne said, if you can all go to the large workshop whiteboard. Okay, oh, we're almost all here. I'm avoid dragging. There's still some people trying to find their way. The list of places on the right hand side. Yeah. Seems like we're all here now. Okay, well done. So I'm going to bring up some partitions, which means I'm going to bring up the red carpets. I think you've noticed some places on QUBE, for those of you who haven't been here before, the only people on the same red carpet can hear each other. Same thing happened on tables. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to follow your last name. So if you can please click on the sides with last name. So A to E, F to J, K to O, P to T, and one of us will join you to do what Suzanne has suggested. Think about what made us successful in the old world and what's going to make us successful now. Simon?
Hi Duncan. Hi Calum. Hi Jonathan.
Hi Gina, how are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Perfect. Sharon, you've got your mic turned on. Or turn
Hello.
it back on. Do you know how to do that, Sharon? I think I've not got that. So what we have to do today is we have to
Sarah? We'll jump Sarah, go to John T. How did you get on?
I dropped out. I didn't catch much of what happened on that last
Okay,
bit, so sorry.
so we'll
watch it.
catch you up, that's fine. Jonathan?
I'm afraid I got dumped out.
Yeah, it's a football. It's beating
Right,
us. Duncan, do you want to share what you and Tina were talking about?
Absolutely. So one of the issues we look at is that I'm a member of various teams within the list teams. We have big team meetings and we have smaller hub meetings and local team meetings. And some of these are physical, as in everybody has to go travel somewhere to meet up. But we also have a team who have QUBE access, and one of the issues is really about engagement and how do we, other things we can do about structuring cubicles to help engage I gave the example of like Google and Apple, who have their headquarters are designed so that people accidentally bump into each other all the time. There's this idea of chance meetings and chance ideas coming. I wondered whether moving from separate cubicles to having a large cubicle which everybody sort of had maybe offshoots of would help
Okay.
with that sort of chance engagement and stuff. And so Tina suggested speaking to yourself on that front. But yes,
Thanks.
technical issues as well.
Bro. Yep. Dolores.
I'm afraid I was on my own, so I didn't have a discussion with anybody.
Oh, Dolores, you're
Yeah.
kidding.
Good
No,
job,
did
Dan.
I'm
Were you
sorry.
right?
Oh, I'm
Were you
sorry.
right?
No.
There wouldn't have been any arguing.
No, no. It was,
um, and David.
I'm afraid I dropped out almost completely. I managed to get one sticker in there, and that was it. But yeah.
No problem. Fab. Alison, are you still with us?
Yeah, got
Yeah.
a sticker on, but there's no connections very much, and
Yeah.
so therefore couldn't manage to get much discussion.
That's okay. That's all right. So if everyone wants to head back to the view presentation, we'll head into the second part.
Right.
Manage. And so my venture begins. Let's enter the world of QUBE. But like any good novel, it would be nowhere without the characters. So these bunch of characters are the ones that could not have made, it wouldn't have happened, this story, without these people. And this is a team of staff throughout the whole of Scotland who we have worked very, very closely with, have never met at times, but we have made this journey an absolutely fantastic one. And Esther, you will see, has even got a chance to go on a bike virtually. So now the story of me disappeared, and it came. What has happened is that it's now the team's adventure in Wonderland. It's no longer ours. And what happened was it became our journey and our story. So what have we done? We've managed to take part in a virtual leadership course. We have took part in a virtual leadership course cohort 2, and also Tina and I facilitated during this time. It's a story about how Tina, Esther, Duncan and I took part in the e-facilitators course and are now able to facilitate groups, and also how Leslie and I designed and organised and facilitated a values-based reflective practice pilot within QUBE, and again never met before. So please, can I introduce to you Calum Thomson.
Yay!
It's a long time since I've had an applause like that. So, yes, thank you, Suzanne. So, yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how the Leading the Future virtual programme came to be. Nursing has changed in the past, certainly the past 2 years, where it's become much more of a reflective practice. We always reflected, but we always had to, it was very much an informal thing, and what we're asked to do with revalidation now to actually keep our registration was really change how we thought. There have been leadership programmes in nursing for many years, and not to denigrate from them, they were good, they were valued, but we needed to think differently, both in terms of how we delivered, how we thought, but more importantly, how we could actually say, really take care of the so what. People go on leadership programmes, and generally the evaluation is the sandwiches: was the room hot, was the room cold, was it good? So what we wanted to do is actually think about something differently. Geographically, we were all over Scotland. Okay, small country, but actually quite difficult to get around in, but we needed to have all our nurses actually together. So there was the geographical boundaries, but there was also, if you like, the philosophical boundaries. How were we actually going to think differently? And QUBE seemed to be a way where we could offer that. What we found is that by thinking differently, we wanted people not just to take the off-the-shelf leadership programs, but actually think differently about what they were doing. The biggest challenge we had for many of them was actually working within the virtual environment. As you can see up here, we've got the virtual environment, we've got us gathered in a circle, we've got us looking at the different boards. Now, the problem was, most of us had never worked in a virtual environment. My virtual environment extended to Xbox and PS4 consoles. I have 2 boys, and my biggest shock was I've been in QUBE, I've never been shot, I've never been run over by a tank or eaten by a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Which is really quite nice. However, what we did was we ran the programme in 2 cohorts, and everybody had the same level of anxiety. Can I work the technology? Can I move around? Am I going to bump into walls? Once we got past that fairly quickly, what we found is that using the pets, which you've actually seen, we had demonstrated, and we'll see another one later, the pets actually make you think differently. They challenge how you think about things, and that can be a bit difficult. So challenging how you're doing it. And what we found was, using the pets, we were able to cut through some of the challenges of working as leaders. We managed to put together 2 posters for national conferences. We put together a parallel session for a national conference. And the first time Tina, Suzanne and I ever got together was in front of one of those posters. So you can actually see you can actually achieve. One of the issues again was people not knowing each other, and as I say, you cut through that. It's a different type of focus which you have when you're in those programs. And again, what it's gone on to is actually moved to a different way of thinking, and also working together more closely. And all of those first 2 cohorts are either still working in QUBE, or they're actually using the pets and performance enhancement tools outside in face-to-face meetings. So what we've found is it really has transformed the way we work and the way we think, which is the most important thing. And there's a sustainability aspect. We don't have to travel all over the country, and the resource issue in terms of time taken. So for us, it's really has been quite life-changing, work-changing. And that's the story of how we came up with a new leadership programme based on open principles. Thank you, and I'll hand over to Tina.
Thank you, Calum. So I'm going to tell you a wee bit about the facilitation course that we attended. So to establish an facility within National Services Scotland, a number of us QUBE facilitators. The course involved attending for 3 two-hour sessions on QUBE. It was like a bit like a baptism of fire, very fast-paced and lots to learn. The facilitators like Leo make it all look so easy, but actually there's lots of preparation and planning work being done in the background. The course was very enjoyable, and I'm glad to say that both Suzanne and I passed. We now have the magic powers. We can turn the lights on and off, put the screens up and mute people if needed. I'm sure we will never need to use that power with all of these quiet people in National Services Scotland. Period. Suzanne and I worked a lot together, and are now feeling very confident on QUBE and happy to do projects with each other or with others involved. Following on from this, Suzanne has a room for the East Coast to use for their team meetings. If this proves to be successful, I'm hopeful that soon we in the West will be able to have a room of our own. I think this will make us all work closer together and feel more of a working team. And now I'll pass back to Suzanne. Thank you.
Thanks, Tina. Yeah, the impact of being on the facilitators course has made such a difference, and we're aligned now differently on the tutors. Before we're able to facilitate on our own with a different level of support. And another great part of it is meeting our team throughout Scotland, Esther and Duncan as well, and working with them. We would never have met them if we hadn't attended the course. So myself and one of my colleagues in the values-based reflective practice community, Leslie Cook, who works in third sector, we decided that we could bring values-based reflective practice into QUBE, but it never been done before, and it was always done face to face. And so we set about learning how to sell this. We looked and wrote a story, and we went through each part individually. This, using the pet, allowed us, we had a really great idea, but we had to sell it correctly to all the stakeholders. So we had the National Services Scotland team, we had the QUBE facilitators team and the values team. We had to sell that we were actually able to bring this into the space. And I'm really, really pleased to say that we have. We use the values-based reflective practice as a way to get together to discuss work, and it is shown to show that staff become more resilient if they reflect together about situations within work. So what we did was we met here. This is us sitting round reflecting. We did a 7-week pilot that was evaluated by staff. It was organised, it was kept to the QUBE rules, but we did hold the sessions and we evaluated it. So what did the staff say? The staff said they did feel safe and that they felt they could share. It was a structured meeting and it held their attention. It was a good way of looking closely at situations but guided by a facilitator. And we did it on a Monday. We were never sure about the day, but they liked a Monday. They felt like they'd had a week, came in, and it was a nice way to start the week off. So at the start, Leslie and I prepared an IDQB, and what the IDQB is its title is to get the turkeys to vote for Christmas. So that was what we had to do. So to kind of explain how this pet works, part of the leadership course, Catherine, one of our colleagues, really wanted a dog. And so we set about helping her. Her husband didn't want a dog, so we had to help her. So we went through the pet, each part, and guess what? Meet Ziggy. This is Catherine's dog. By the end of the course, she actually did get her dog. So she sold the turkeys Christmas. So let's do a breakout session 2. Over to you, Leo.
Okay. So if you can all go to the large workshop whiteboard, we'll have a chance to work on the, this pet that Suzanne was referring to, which is it's the way we tend to structure something when we want to be persuasive and get people to help us to come up with a good solution. So if you could now click on first names, let's see how it goes. So 3 groups, first names.
Hi, Joshua. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Sharon.
Hello.
How are you?
Okay,
Sharon, have
not
you
too
got
bad,
your
thank
mic
you.
working
Struggling a
now?
little bit with
Yes.
Zoom network.
Oh, me too.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's working better now. So how are you struggling?
Oh, God,
Right, I know.
such a sticky note off.
Yeah, how did everyone find that? I could hear lots of conversation. Leslie, how was that? How did you find that?
Really good, actually. It made a lot of sense and gave me a lot of food for thought with my own little project.
Good. Fantastic.
Callum,
Okay,
in your
so
team, anybody to share it? Don't know who was with you, Calum?
So David was there and Dolores was there. Anyone else there who wants to speak? David Boxall?
Sarah's volunteered to speak back for our team.
All feedback because David doesn't. Oh, he's there. Yep.
David.
Yeah. So I'm here.
Okay. So David came up with the original brilliant suggestion of how to say no when it's not really the appropriate response that's being expected. So we went through some of the issues around that, where there's social issues and kind of your psychotic boss who actually demands your urgent attention whenever things need to be done. Which was good fun, thinking through some of the options there. And then we started to talk about the strategies which you can use to kind of how to say no in a polite way, how to explain why you're saying no, looking at providing other data, other priorities. And we didn't come down to quitting at that point, but but we did run out of time, so we didn't get onto the full final data parts of it and the solutions. So.
Okay, Sarah. I think you're
Tina came up with the fantastic idea of the sensitive issue around changing the tea break time for a team and how we would go about doing that. I thought it was a great example. Do you go to the team and just say, well, you've got to change your tea break time, that's it. There's no choice to say in the matter. Or how do you go about it? And we said, well, obviously, you've got to look at giving a reason, giving some sort of form of clarification. Why would this potentially be something we want to do, so people understand the reasoning behind it. Also to provide any data as to maybe the example of a hospital, you've got nurses, maybe there's something specific that is expected to happen at that particular time, so you need to move the tea break because there's been a change somewhere. And then how we get people to buy into it? Do we give them some choice? Ask them if they can come up with a better suggestion, or get their input into how we might go about it, to what's in it for them.
Nice.
Anything
Thank
to
you.
add to that, guys?
No, that was good. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, Suzanne, so we can proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Leo. So yeah, this is the final chapter. And the difference now in my new world is I don't see myself now as just me. I see myself as the we, and this is myself and Tina at a conference in TEDx, which was an absolutely fantastic event, that we were with the list team in person, but the list team were actually online in QUBE, so it was like the whole team were together, but we weren't actually, the list team were in two different places. And as being part of the values team has meant a lot for us to share together about work issues, which we would never have been able to do unless QUBE made it possible for us to meet. And I think teamwork, I feel part of the National Services Scotland family now, which I understand and know what other areas of working is going on, which I would never have known if I hadn't been working together on what we had done. But you've today practiced and saw a very small, there's over 500 pets within the space that helps you to work. And what the Pets for Me has done is given me the confidence to be able to go to stakeholders with ideas that I had, which I wouldn't have been able to do before. They've given me a new form type of confidence that I am able to change things, and I approach people differently now. I'm not afraid to talk to bosses, to talk to managers about ideas, because I feel like I've got a set of tools now that equip me to do it. And we're finding the results. We are there. Things are moving a lot quicker. Projects are moving quicker. So the post it first rule, which we have in QUBE and talk later, has allowed my voice to be heard within a large team. Everyone today has had a chance to let their voice be heard, which with the spins and this it just allows the team to work differently. But be careful, because if you take the pets out to the real world, which we do at meetings now, be careful, because I lent them to Catherine, and yes, as you can see, Ziggy ate the pets, ironically.
It was a cat.
So what have we achieved as a team? So as Calum said earlier, we've put 2 national posters in and prepared, did the organising. Jane made a video for one of the posters doing our lovely voice, and we've managed to do that without travelling. We've done 1 parallel session in a national conference and have spoke about our achievements. We've completed the facilitators course and have 5 members of our team for National Service Scotland facilitators. TEDx Glasgow, who would have thought we would have attended that? It was an absolute fantastic event. Never thought we would be there. The pilot for the values is just something that's very close to our hearts, and we look forward to keeping going with that. And Tina's doing her master's degree at the moment, and her team are also meeting within this space. I think one of the things we did start was our geographical team meetings, and I'm not going to lie, initially they were quite challenging, because we were trying to bring how our old style of working, how we did that, we were trying to bring it into this space. So that was our geographical room, which is split up into 4 different areas, and it wasn't working. And then I attended the facilitators course, and it just opened up my eyes differently. So I met with my boss Danny McGee, and we did an action replay together and just said what's working, what's not working. And then we went right back to the basics of what you do in QUBE. You have a course planner, you have the hopes and fears, just how you run the meeting. So now we are meeting throughout Scotland. It's early days, but they are definitely an improvement, and I can just see them going from strength to strength. And Tina's actually part of a different team within, and they are looking to also take them forward. But be careful, you will become obsessed, which I think some of us already are. So just to explain, this is for the ones that are in Scotland will remember, ones that are not, we had terrible snow. It came very, very suddenly, and Scotland literally ground to a halt. But unfortunately, in QUBE we didn't, so we still had to work, and we still were working together, and we're still meeting. And because the children were off, that's what we did. We actually made that, myself and my daughter. So what's now, what are we going to do for the future? We're doing a leading the facilitator course. We're expanding, Calum would like a group reflection portal, so we're expanding to that. Tina's going to continue to do her work, and as we've said, the geographical team meetings. I think what's pretty exciting for us all is a bit of a blank script, so it's endless. You know, you can do so much. And I think it's the collaboration between myself, Esther, Duncan, Tina, we meet as well. And dare I say it, the I word, innovation, we use that so freely, but we are really enjoying actually being able to do that within the QUBE space. So thank you. Thank you for sharing our digital adventure. Thank you for listening. And yeah, it's just, it's keeping up with the world, and that's what I feel like we're doing. And as a team, it feels exciting now, whereas before it didn't feel like that. It felt like we were 2 steps behind, but it feels like slowly but surely we are getting on top of things. So with great thanks, masses of people that we need to thank, but I would like to, Tracy, Josh and David, thank you so much for helping us set up the room and just for the time that you do spend, and also to Leo and Tam for their support within QUBE. And that's us at our Christmas party with penguins and all in QUBE, so you can even meet just socially as well. So yeah, as QUBE style, what we would like to do is just to find out what you've learned today. Is there anything you want to know more about? And QUBE style, post it first, discuss later. So Leo will take you to the learning pit. Thank you very much.
Well,
Well done, Alice.
well done. So yeah, as you said, as you suggested, Suzanne, I won't refuse this final breakout. It won't be really a breakout. So if you can now go to the place called Learning on the list of places again. So Learning, as Suzanne has suggested, if you could capture first, what was your biggest surprise? What have you learned? And how do you think you can use this in the future?
Oh dear.
I think Sarah's got a fire in her place.
Oh dear.
The steam coming off the keys.
Burnt the toast.
Okay, seems like we're getting there. People are capturing. I think instead of having a proper discussion about the learning, I was going to suggest, considering the time we have left, that we gather in the circle to do a final spin. Everybody will have a chance to share any final ahas, thoughts, and so we can all have a good afternoon afterwards. So thank you. So if you can join me on gathering in a circle. So I'll pass it over to Alison, actually. Anything to share, Alison?
Yeah, it was a really good session, and I thought it'd be really good to take it forward in our kind of clinical education group. I'm thinking of clinical supervision and reflective-based practice.
Thank you very much. Calum.
I thought it was really interesting that I spoke to a couple of people before the session, and as always in QUBE, you never go away without having spoken to somebody without picking up something new. So no, it was really good, and thank you everyone for coming in and listening.
David, Boxall.
I enjoyed the session because it was it seemed to be a really real world sort of application of QUBE. Very often when we're in this Inspiration Monthly, we're listening to people with an idea, always interesting. But what we learned today was how to use QUBE in the real world, and that I thought was very interesting.
Thank you. David Mackenzie.
Should we do more of these?
So I had some really interesting discussions. I started off talking with Tam and then with Leslie Cook. So just started to discuss how it could be used in thinking about my local area. Again, we're fairly not as widely distributed as Scotland, of course, but similar as we're building an alliance of CCGs, which is going to be quite a large space. So it'd be hours worth of travelling if we have to do it all week, every week. So yeah, really helpful.
TW.
I just want to say well done to Suzanne, Tina, and Calum. I think you've done a fabulous job here today. I really enjoyed the session, so thank you very much for leading.
Dolores.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Suzanne and the rest of the presenters. I think their stories are very interesting. How they've went through QUBE, and especially during adverse weather conditions. I think it's something that I think it can get them on board and everything. So yeah, very good stuff.
Okay, there were some issues in the headset. Thanks for resetting. Duncan.
I just want to say thanks and well done to three presenters. It was good fun as always, and I look forward to our next get together.
Nice. Eddie.
It was fabulous. It was fabulous. Thank you very much, presenters, and thanks to everyone. And I guess it's my fault for being dumb enough to schedule this to clash with the World Cup. I thought we would be more famous in the World Cup. I was wrong. Thanks. Thank you very much, Suzanne. Nice job, everyone. Tina and Calum, fantastic.
Jane. Skip Jane. Jason.
Yeah, it's been good to see a real-world example and how things have been put into practice, and basically it's given me more tools on my quest to get success and adoption of QUBE within our business.
Well done. Jocelyn?
It was a really good presentation, thank you. Like others have said, it was a really good real-life example that actually works in practice. I've actually come across some new pets today, which is really good, so hopefully I can take those away and utilise them here. Just to add, it was a little bit of a shame about the network connection issues because I did miss out on some of the conversations, but hopefully it was just a one-off.
Okay, thank you, Jocelyn. Josh?
Yes, so I don't know if you all remember, at the beginning of this session we asked you to put a sticky note on the map of the world or of the UK, and so we use that to work out what we've saved by meeting on QUBE rather than meeting up face to face. And I can tell you that by meeting on QUBE today, we have saved 12,090 miles of travel. So to put that in perspective, that would have been 8 hours of driving each, or 4 hours of flying each. We would have burned 5.9 tons of carbon, which could be used to heat a house for 428 days, so over a year. We would have lost £2,400 on travelling, and the travel itself would have cost nearly £5,700. So it would have been over £8,000 in total that it would have cost us travelling. So well done, everyone. Brilliant saving today.
Well done. Good job.
Well done. Well, I thank you all. I know how much effort they've put. You know, those things they don't just happen overnight. It's not like Suzanne, Calum, and Tina didn't prepare for it. Was it, Suzanne? So well done, and I'm very proud of you. You know, Leslie.
I had a fabulous time today. I had no idea you could get so many people successfully in a room together and share interesting information with them. It was really fast paced and lots of different styles of presentation and activities, and I just thought it was brilliant. So I have been inspired.
Brilliant.
Sharon?
Hi, well, it was my first experience on QUBE, and I think it was a great one. I really enjoyed the presenter stories. Thank you very much, and I've enjoyed joining the group today. Thank you.
Simon?
Oh, well done, everyone. I think it was a challenge technically today because of the football and other things, but just think how much we did in an hour and a half. You've met Leo in Brazil, you met Suzanne in Scotland, I'm down in Sussex. We've all worked together, and we say 3 strikes and you're in. I think once you've done it a couple more times, you find that actually there's occasionally a technical glitch, but it's no different to a phone going off in a meeting and having to leave it or whatever. But in an hour and a half, you've achieved an awful lot, and you'll be back at your desk in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Simon. Suzanne?
Just thank you for everyone. I think for me, it's just lovely having lots of people that mean a very lot to me in one room. So thank you very much for coming.
Brilliant, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Pam?
I feel like proud mum at a graduation. I can't say anything else.
I hope there's tears, Tam. I hope there's tears.
I'm welled up, I just can't speak anymore.
Well done. Oh, very well done. Thank you. And Tina?
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought I might be a wee bit nervous, but I wasn't. So it's been very good, very educational, and nice to meet lots of new people on QUBE.
Excellent. Thank you. Eddie, final words?
I think everyone, thank you for coming. Thanks for the effort and energy and emotion from the team who led us. And let's do it again and bring other people, and let's build a wonderful community where we can share and learn together. Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. You can stay. You don't have to rush off. There are tables at the end. You can sit and chat if you want.
I need to go, so
Bye.
I'll speak to you all soon.
Yeah,
Take
bye
care.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
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 Well done, Suzanne and team.
Well done.
Bye.
Bye.
Done indeed.